Right now, somewhere in the world, a country you've never heard of is deciding whether to let its people eat or pay America. That's not a metaphor. And if you think the dollar is just paper with dead presidents on it, you're missing the most elegant trap ever built. Most people think money is simple. You work, you get paid, you spend it. Done. But the US dollar doesn't follow those rules. It's the only currency that gets stronger when America borrows more. The only currency that other countries are forced to use even when they hate us. And the only currency that can collapse entire economies without a single American soldier setting foot on foreign soil. You probably use dollars every day and never ask why. That ignorance is expensive. I used to think the same way. Dollars are just dollars, right? Then I started looking at how countries actually function, not the stuff they teach you in economics class, the real mechanics. And I realized something uncomfortable. The global economy isn't a fair game, it's a rigged casino, and the house always wins because the house prints the chips. Every country on earth is playing a game where America writes the rules, deals the cards, and owns the table. And here's the part that made me pause. Most Americans don't even know this system exists. Let me take you back to 1944. World War II is ending. Europe is destroyed. Asia is in ruins. And the United States is the only major economy left standing. So the world's leaders meet in a small town in New Hampshire called Bretton Woods, and they make a deal. From now on, the US dollar will be the world's reserve currency. Every country will peg their currency to the dollar, and the dollar will be pegged to gold. Sounds fair, right? Except 27 years later, in 1971, President Nixon did something wild. He walks up to a podium and says, "We're not backing the dollar with gold anymore." Just like that, no warning, no vote, and the world kept using the dollar anyway. Why? Because by then it was too late. The entire global system was already built around it. Oil was priced in dollars. International debts were in dollars. Central banks held their reserves in dollars. Switching would have been like trying to change the engine on a plane mid-flight. So the dollar stayed, but now it was backed by nothing except trust. Or more accurately, it was backed by something far more powerful than gold. It was backed by necessity. Here's how the trap works. Let's say you're a country, any country. You want to buy oil from Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia doesn't want your currency. They want dollars. So you have to go to the currency market and trade your money for dollars first. This creates automatic demand for the dollar, no matter what America does. Now, let's say you're a poor country trying to develop. You need machinery, medicine, and technology. Almost all of it is priced in dollars. So you need dollars, but you don't have enough, so you borrow them. And now you owe debt denominated in a currency you don't control. If the dollar gets stronger, your debt gets heavier. You didn't borrow more, you didn't spend more. The value just shifted underneath you. This has happened over and over. Argentina, Turkey, Lebanon, Sri Lanka. Their economies didn't collapse because they were lazy or corrupt, though that didn't help. They collapsed because they couldn't get enough dollars to pay their dollar debts. And here's the kicker. America doesn't have to do anything aggressive to make this happen. The Federal Reserve just raises interest rates to fight inflation at home. Suddenly, investors pull money out of developing countries and move it to US Treasury bonds because they're safer and pay more. Currencies collapse, inflation spikes, governments fall. All because Jerome Powell pressed a button in Washington. Now here's the part that should make you uncomfortable. The US benefits massively from this system. We can borrow trillions of dollars at low interest rates because the whole world needs to hold our debt as reserves. We run gigantic trade deficits every year. We import way more than we export.
And instead of that destroying our economy like it would for any other country, we just pay for it by printing more dollars. Other countries can't do that. If they print too much money, their currency crashes and nobody wants it. But when the US does it, the world has no choice but to absorb it, because rejecting the dollar means rejecting the global economy. It's like being in debt to someone who also controls the printing press, the bank, and the police. You can complain all you want, but you still need their money. And the craziest part is, this system makes the dollar stronger during a crisis. When the world panics, everyone runs to the dollar, not because it's the best currency, but because it's the most liquid, the safest bet in an unsafe world. So America gets rewarded for global instability. The worse things get, the more powerful the dollar becomes. But this power comes with a cost, and it's starting to show cracks. China has spent the last decade trying to build an alternative. They've launched the digital yuan. They're signing trade deals in their own currency. They're buying oil in yuan, not dollars. Russia, after being kicked out of the SWIFT payment system, started trading in rubles and yuan. Even US allies like France and Germany have talked about reducing dollar dependence. Because here's the thing, the dollar isn't just an economic tool anymore, it's a weapon. When the US freezes someone's dollar assets or cuts them off from the banking system, that's not a sanction, that's a financial death sentence. And the more we use that weapon, the more countries realize they're vulnerable, so they start looking for exits. Now, none of these alternatives have worked yet. The yuan isn't trusted, Bitcoin is too volatile, the euro is strong, but the eurozone is fragile. The dollar is still king. But every king eventually falls, not because they get weak, but because people stop believing in them. Here's what most people miss. The dollar's dominance isn't guaranteed by law or force. It's guaranteed by inertia. It's the default setting, the path of least resistance. But defaults can change. If enough countries decide the cost of using the dollar is higher than the cost of building something new, the system flips. And when it does, it won't be gradual, it'll be sudden. Because currency crises don't unfold slowly. They happen in days, sometimes hours. One moment, everything is fine. Next, nobody wants your money. And if that ever happens to the dollar, the consequences won't just hit America, they'll hit everyone. Because the global economy is so interconnected, so reliant on dollar-based trade and debt, that a true dollar collapse would be like pulling the foundation from under a skyscraper. Everything comes down. So here's the uncomfortable question nobody wants to ask. What happens when the world doesn't need the dollar anymore? Not because they found something better, but because they got tired of playing a game they can't win. Maybe that day never comes. Maybe the system is too big to fail. Or maybe we're just living in the final chapter of an empire that doesn't realize it's already over. Either way, the next time you hold a dollar bill, ask yourself, is this worth something because it's valuable or because we all agreed it is? And what happens when that agreement ends? Let me know what you think in the comments.